All right, here we are. We're live as always. 25 degrees, a balmy 25 right now in the Granite City. God, I don't know about you, but this morning when I walked out of the house, I was like, this feels so good. After what was it yesterday? Like 18 below, I think at my house. Cloudy skies today, maybe some snow showers as we get more into the later part of the afternoon. So drive carefully. Depending on where you are, if you're in the heights anywhere, could get a little slick. We have that wind chill advisory that starts up at 10 o'clock tonight and goes all the way to 1 p.m. on Saturday. So the cold is going to be right back with us. We're talking about wind chills of around 20 to 30 below zero. So don't run around your backyard in your Speedo this weekend because you're going to freeze your nads off. It is, and, I'll say this, too. Your kids, if your kids are, doing something, if they're outdoors, just keep an eye on them and make sure they got gloves and hats on and all that stuff. They're not going to last long anyways, but just be cognizant of that. And if you have pets, bring them on indoors. If they're indoor, outdoor cats or whatever it may be, take good care of them, all right? The nor'easter that is coming up the coast. I've been watching it. I'm sure you have too. It's mostly going to be impacting the New England coast. We're talking Maine, New Hampshire, Massachusetts. Boston is supposed to get like 2 feet of snow tomorrow. So for the most part, it's. I don't want to say it's going to completely dodge us. I've been watching and listening to what Roger Hill is saying. But it's, for the most part, we are going to get some snow. The totals are going to vary a little bit, but not anywhere near as much as I think what was originally predicted. But the track of the storm is changing. It's going to be more out towards the ocean. We're still going to get some snow, but mostly the winds are going to be the key with this nor'easter. Very cold, very windy. So button yourself up and be ready for a cold weekend. I don't know about you, but I just I love having a barn full of firewood, having a wood stove going. I got my favorite thick wool sweater on, a hot cup of coffee, just to be able to sit down and maybe do some reading and just chill, which is what I've been doing over the last couple of days. But I hope you're doing well, no matter who you are, no matter where you are. And we're going to shift gears right now. I've got Craig Mcdermott, who is sitting right across from me here in the Aired Out studio at 185 North Main Street in Barre, the heart of the Granite City. Good morning, pal. How are you, man?
Good, man. How are you doing?
Dude, I'm so... Raylene and I have been talking about you.
Yeah.
Making some shit up about you too, a little bit, but we've been so excited about having you on this podcast for a long time now.
Cool.
And I want to say straight out, before we even get into things, I want to have you back in here because
I'd love to come back,
dude. There's so much to talk about.
Oh yeah,
my God.
Yeah.
So who the hell is Craig Mcdermott?
First and foremost, I'm a father.
There you go.
Local guy. Grew up here in Montpelier, town next door, as everybody knows, and spent my whole life here. Left for a little while for college. Went to the Virgin Islands for a couple years. Lived down there when I was a teenager.
Whoa.
And then came back. When I was 24, I opened my first antique and pawn shop here in Barre, and did that for practice as a pawnbroker for 5-6 years. After that, decided to spend some time at home with my kids, made a bunch of money. My kids were that age where I could really enjoy them at home, so I took some time off, and a couple of years ago decided to get back into it. So
wow.
just been going for it,
So you opened your own pawn shop right here in Barre.
That's right. Yep.
When did you officially cut the ribbon on that?
This last time, we opened in 2000 at the very beginning of 2018.
Oh, okay.
So we've been open for almost 4 years now.
Right. That's right around the same time that we were pulling the trigger on this podcast.
Yeah. Wow.
So, dude, this is amazing. So, I want to ask you, as a pawn shop owner, how many other pawn shops are there in Vermont?
Yeah, we're the only licensed pawnbrokers in the state.
Come on.
Nope, we're the number one and the only one. It's just I don't know why there's not more pawn shops, and growing up I always heard that they were illegal here in the state of Vermont, which is totally untrue. It's a misnomer. A lot of people think that they're illegal. We're not allowed to charge a super high interest rate on loans. 3% is the max.
Whoa.
Monthly. So it's pretty low, especially, compared to national standards. 3% is very low. That said, I think that's why, we all grew up here in the state not seeing pawn shops all over the place. But it's always something I wanted to do growing up. I've always been into antiques and loved them.
Really?
And fine art, rare stuff. And it's just always intrigued me, So
Yeah.
I just chased my dream, And
That's awesome.
yeah.
I'm going to be asking you about some of the weird shit that you have found and that you've collected over the years, and I've got some interesting questions for you. But first off, so you're legit as a licensed
Absolutely.
pawnbroker?
Oh yeah, yep.
So
We're licensed through the state.
How do you get that license?
Jeez.
Did you have to get pretty hardcore vetted?
Yeah, I mean we're also licensed federal firearms dealers, certified numismatist, which is a coin expert through the American Numismatic Association. We're licensed for federal firearms with the ATF. We're licensed pawnbrokers through the local municipality and through the state of Vermont.
Wow.
At the AG's office. We're bonded, and
Really?
Yeah, it's a process. I mean, it took. When we initially opened, we weren't sure we were going to get a license just because the vetting is that serious.
Damn.
And so we included the word thrift in our name.
Oh.
Just because we weren't sure we were going to get that license. So, just being an entrepreneur, as you are, you plan ahead, right? So we weren't sure, and the license came through. We went to the city council meeting. I think we got it a year and a half after we opened. I just called the city council member.
Yeah.
I don't remember who I spoke to, but they were really, one thing about the city council in Barre now, I know they get a lot of flack for some of their more political stuff, but business wise, these guys they're great. They're business friendly, and they try and help people out. And they definitely did that with me. I went down, spoke, and told them what the plan was. I applied for the license, and that next Monday, I think, was when I got the license.
Wow.
Yeah.
You drive down south. You get down south.
Sure.
And, man, they're like everywhere.
Yeah. There's pawn shops all over the place. I mean, Vermont is a small state, but I feel like if on the state level, if they would allow us to charge a little bit more interest, I'm sure we'd see more pawn shops.
Wow.
Maybe some national chains would come in. And, over the years, pawn shops have gotten a really bad connotation from film and media. They're always the first ones in the newspaper when there's when there's a negative story to be told. But, the truth of the matter is, I think the national statistics are very low that pawn shops get, I think, 1% of all stolen items end up in a pawn shop. That's extremely low. Yeah. And I believe that's an accurate number. It's under 3%. I know that. I'm a member of the National Pawnbrokers Association, and that's something that they push really hard is for us to let people know in the community that we're around to help, and at my shop we do that a lot. I mean, we really, really try hard. Even when the police are not involved, even before the police get involved, we try really hard to not only combat the trafficking of stolen goods, but also just to help people out,
I can't imagine what it is like in your shoes. And, dude, I'm sure that you could write a book I'm sure you could.
Yeah. On a daily basis, I think I could probably write a book.
Maybe 2 books.
Yeah. A year.
A year. Easily, I'm sure. And I can only imagine the stories. And I might ask you about 1 or 2 if you're willing to share. And if you're not, that's cool. But what is it like when you... I'm guessing that everything's documented. You've got cameras capturing everything.
Yeah.
You have to. But what is the experience like when you buy something from someone, and then the next day, or a year later, or 10 years later, 5 years later, whatever, somebody comes in and says, "Hey, my grandmother's ring was stolen out of my house," or a guitar, or something. Is that something? And they describe it or show you a picture, and you say, "Oh shit, I have it right here."
Yeah,
that's happened to you.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And then
it happens. It does happen. We've been pretty fortunate. Knock on wood. It hasn't happened a lot at our shop, but we do have occasions when people come in and they're looking for items that we purchased, and they were sold nefariously. Someone came in and either got it from somebody that stole it or stole it themselves, and it's just part of the gig. We do our best to assist those people, and even when we don't have the item they're looking for, we'll write the information down and just keep an eye out for it.
And that's amazing.
Yeah, I mean,
everybody. I'm guessing not everybody down south does that.
Probably not. If they don't have it, they probably tell people to beat feet.
Yeah, right.
And I mean, they're within. Honestly, they're within their right to do that. I just feel like, the ethical thing to do is to try and help.
Right.
You're in a line of business where you're exposed to those kind of people, and you're a target for people to use you as an avenue.
Right.
To sell those kind of things. So you have to, I feel like you have to be alert for that.
Yeah.
And you kind of owe it to your community that's allowing you to be in business to at least look out.
So what do you do? What's the process in that point? Do you mean you paid money for it? So now do you resell it to the person that's looking for it? Or
no. It's basically we just take an L on it. It's just part of the gig.
Wow.
There's no insurance. Our insurance companies aren't going to cover that loss. That you might be able to get a rider. I've never investigated it, but those riders wouldn't, they wouldn't cover it, especially when you get into the multi-thousands. I mean, I've lost, last year.
Holy shit! I didn't know this.
Yeah, I mean, last year I think I lost around $4,500 on a deal. Over the course of a month, I had a kid who brought in a number. I don't know. He said his grandfather had passed away. He brought in probably 5 or 6 guns, and I paid him really well for the guns. They were nice guns, really some antique firearms, and I didn't see it coming. He was just really. I'm usually a pretty good judge of character, which you need to be.
Yeah.
In this business, right?
Yeah.
You definitely need to be a people person and be able to see people for what they are.
Body language. All that stuff.
The whole 9 yards, and. I'd even asked a buddy of mine who works in the local police department. I ran his name by him, and he was like, no flags, So I was like, okay. I believed his story, and then next thing you know, like a month later, Barre PD comes in.
Oh, my God.
Looking for those guns. I said, yeah, I got them.
Oh.
So, it happens. Kidding. It happens. And, from that point, you just swallow it and move on and hope it doesn't happen again right away, and it's just part of it's baked into your business plan, right? So you have to have you just have to have a plan for those instances, and sometimes an emergency fund when it's a big loss.
Risk. It's risk.
Yeah.
Do you have? Are there any parameters that somebody comes in? They've got something that's valued over, let's say, $500, and that means automatically we take a photograph of you, and we need your license. We need to photocopy your license.
Anybody that comes in the shop, and some people actually throw a fit about this, just because of privacy issues.
Yeah.
But anybody that comes in the shop, whether I'm paying $1
Yeah.
or I'm paying $500 or $5,000 or
Right.
$10,000. I mean, I've bought in things that are, many thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
We're writing a check.
Right.
We're taking a picture of their ID, whether it's $1 or it's $10,000.
Oh, wow.
In certain instances, if it's over a certain amount of money, we'll do more paperwork with them for the federal government as a requirement for the IRS. But that's very unusual, and typically that doesn't happen around here. Now, like if you in Las Vegas, I'm sure they do that paperwork every day.
Sure. You see, here's the thing. If I was legit, I've got nothing to hide,
Right.
and I'm coming in with whatever. I don't care if you take I don't care if you take my picture, if you fingerprint me, if you
Right. They do fingerprints in some states. They require it.
you want to take a hair sample, that's fine too. I don't care. Urine, whatever. It doesn't matter to me.
Right.
I've got nothing to hide. You know, I think that's the way it should be.
Yeah.
You know?
It's always the older ladies. It seems like the
get
little
pissed.
old ladies that get kind of antsy about you keeping their photograph. And I understand, it's a privacy issue, but we keep everything on a cold storage that's unattached to any wireless network or anything.
Yeah.
Those photos go right onto cold storage, and they're just on their own.
You did not come in here today with a suitcase full of stuff to show off.
I
But
didn't.
I'm hoping that the next time we get you on, that we'll get you in here early. We'll spread all that shit out on the table, and we'll show.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, I would love to do that.
We're
I mean,
gonna do it.
I buy some wicked cool stuff at the shop. I mean, everything from I've had taxidermy that's amazing to vintage and antique guitars that are worth many thousands of dollars. And they've walked through the door, which is amazing. I had a guy walk through the door with a 1957 Type L archtop acoustic electric Gibson that his mom bought here in Barre from a traveling salesman in a hard case, a Gibson hard case, with the original receipt from the traveling salesman. So I get to see really cool stuff, and I get to buy really cool stuff, and I get to hear the stories behind them. So yeah, I'd love to share that with your audience sometime.
My God,
I'd love to come in and let you guys look at some of the stuff I buy. It's pretty amazing.
So what I've been in your shop before, and what's dangerous for me is if you're not planning your day appropriately, you might get a little screwed up because your eyes. You're going to be in there for a little while. Yeah. Because your eyes are everywhere.
Sure.
I mean, there's so much stuff in there. I mean,
I have tons of stuff.
Tons of stuff.
Yeah. I also do like clean outs, and people will call me. They might have a barn full of stuff, or their grandfather might have passed away. They might have inherited a house. They live in Connecticut. They have a house in Vermont. They don't want any of this. They don't want to deal with it, right?
Right. Is that what being a picker is?
Yeah.
You're a picker.
Yeah. I by trade, I guess you would call me a pawnbroker, right? But antiques and pawnbroking, and people don't associate these two with each other. They think like a pawn shop is like all electronics and TVs, and which there is that. I mean, I buy TVs. They have to be newer than a year old now because they make so many of them,
right?
And they become obsolete
right
just
away,
like almost like a cell phone.
Sure,
right?
Of course.
But people think that pawn shops are just like electronics, and there's a lot more to it. I mean, I would describe myself as an antique dealer more than a pawnbroker. I buy a lot of antiques. I guess it's just because that's where my passion is. I mean.
Just by looking at you, and you can't judge a book by its cover, but just by looking at you, dude, I'm not thinking that looks like an antique guy right there.
Right? Yeah, I know, man. It's weird. Like antiques are one of the strange things. Like if you go to Brimfield, which is a huge antique show down in Massachusetts, it's like 3 miles long, both sides of the road. If you've never been there, it's life changing.
Really?
Yeah, and like you'll see guys.
You been to that? It's on Raylene's bucket list to go there.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me. Yep, Elephant Trunk is another one. Amazing show. I do both of those shows. Before pre-COVID, we did pretty much every show on the East Coast.
There's a badass one in Wells Maine.
Yep. I've been
you know
to
what
that
I'm talking
one.
about?
I've shopped at that one. I've never set up there. Well, and then
Sherilyn was in there for like 30 straight hours.
oh yeah, I believe it. There's some really good antiques in Maine. It's just like Vermont. I mean, some of these houses are like museums. You know,
right.
They've sat closed for 25 years.
Sure.
And they're packed full of stuff that the world is yearning for. You know what I mean? Like just like treasure, like dripping treasure. You go in the door and you're like, what? This stuff's still like, and I hear a lot of antique dealers, you know, who aren't as active, like traveling and picking. I hear a lot of them say, oh, those houses don't exist anymore. We picked, you know, this state dry. 2 weeks ago, I went into a house in Braintree, Vermont. I opened the door, and there is a broadside advertisement, a 3.5-foot broadside advertisement from an 1847 presidential election on the wall, just chilling on the wall. This house hadn't been touched for probably 30 years. The lady that owned the house had passed away. A relative got the house and kind of just shut the doors, right? So calls me. I go down, take a look around. First thing I see when I walk in the door is that broadside. And I knew. I was like, what? Like, and it's mind-blowing. It happens all the time.
Wow.
Sometimes you go into a house and it's just
right.
It's just garbage, right? Like it's somebody that accumulated a lot of modern stuff and junk. But even in those houses, the average house in America, and people don't know this, with gold and silver as high as they are, and we buy a lot of gold and silver at my shop. The average house has about $2,000 worth of gold and silver in it. Any house, like you could pick any place you want, just throw a dart. Has about $2,000 worth of unwanted or broken. This is stuff that is not valuable. That's just melt value, $2,000.
So people could call you and say, "Hey, Craig, you got any time next week? You can come over to my house."
Oh yeah,
Really?
That happens all the time. Yeah.
Are you addicted to this stuff? Do you?
I wouldn't say I'm addicted, but I guess I am. Yeah.
Like when you walk, when you,
take that
when
back.
you,
I am. I love it.
When you walk into someone's house and you or a house that's been closed up or whatever, and you start looking around and seeing this, do you start getting a little twitch in the eye?
Yeah, I mean,
Blood pressure
before
go up?
before I even get there, you know, it's the excitement of what's going to happen. Is it going to be a really good pick? Am I going to find a bunch of treasure, or is it going to be, you know, it's the unknown, right? And I'm really passionate about it. I grew up with a single mother who was really into antiques. My grandfather on my dad's side and they used to bring me to auctions when I was younger. There was an auction house in Waterbury for years and years and years, and I don't know the guy's name, but he was a great auctioneer. And they just sold box lots and cheap stuff. I used to go there like every Friday night with my mom and my grandfather, and it just instilled a passion for me that it's just survived, you know. And it's always been something that I've loved to do. I mean, I went to, before I got into officially got into the business, I would go to flea markets and yard sales and stuff like that. I don't have as much time to do that now, but I still love doing it.
Wow. So you know about coins. I've got to, you know, I have to show you my coin collection. And admittedly, and I'll tell you straight up, and I know Raylene, I know most people are going to be like, don't tell him that. But I don't really know, you know. I don't really know what's going on there.
Yeah.
I have to trust you and your expertise, and that's what it is. It's trust.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I mean, you know, as a professional, I kind of hold a responsibility to be honest with people, especially when they tell me they don't know what they're doing, right? Or they have no idea,
right?
At that point, you're kind of liable, right? Like if somebody comes in and they have a $10,000 coin and I tell them it's worth $1,
right?
You know, I want to pay 50% of that or whatever.
Yeah, sure.
You know, and that happens.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to be very careful. I always tell people, and I'm almost notorious for it, you know, get two opinions. Show two people. Don't just take the first offer you get. And I tell people that come in here, like, or they'll come in my shop. I say, like, hey, you know, here's the offer. Feel free to shop around. Come back. You know, because I'm confident in most of my offers. I mean, sometimes I'll be off a little bit, but I'm not off by far if I am off.
Wow.
Usually I'm the highest off.
Have you known some shady dudes?
Oh,
come on.
There are some right now. Yeah, I mean, yeah, they're out
here in Vermont.
Yes. They're out there.
They have you. So you've experienced a situation where someone has sold something to said shady
Yes.
dude,
Yes.
and then come to you
And told me about
and
it.
told you about it,
And I've seen the item. I've seen the items because they had pictures, and just knowing.
and you fell off your chair.
Yo, ridiculous. When I first started in the business, and I'm not going to name names, right? Because we know where that can lead. I'm not going to say names, but I had another dealer who I really trusted, and this is when I first started, and I was still kind of learning. I wasn't certified numismatist. I wasn't a certified numismatist. I really didn't know paper money. I had a fellow dealer who had taught me a lot. And this is usually how it goes, like in any relationship where someone's going to try and take advantage of someone else. There's a period of like a grooming period, right? Like where the person will gain your trust, and then boom, it's that one time. Well, I had bought a note, okay, at a flea market, and this is before I was a professional. Really, I was still learning, and this note was worth thousands and thousands of dollars. A Canadian note, very rare. It was from Providence, and it was a Dominion of Canada note. And I brought it to a really well-known numismatist in the area, a coin dealer in Vermont, who advertises like this, like treasure hunter, and like he's made dreams come true, this and that, pays people lots and lots of money, whatever. Okay, so I trust this guy, and we had a great relationship. I mean, we spent time outside of business together. You know what I mean? Like we were friends, and he said, well, that's probably worth like $3,500. I was like, okay, like I trusted him. And then I talked to this auctioneer. Thank God I talked to this auctioneer in New York. He's like, we'll give you 15 grand for it today, cash. We'll come pick it up. He said, if I were you, I'd put it in and this guy worked for Stacks and Bowers. Okay. The guy that said it was worth 15 was being honest with me. And Stacks and Bowers is like a notoriously famous, very, very well-known, honest group of people, auctioneers in the coin industry. And I mean, they've sold some of the highest end coin collections in the world. So at that point, I was like, man, this guy was going to bend me over. Wow. He was just going to do me dirty. They're out there, man. There are dealers out there that will bang you over the head.
Wow.
I mean, bad. So anyways, long story short, I ended up that note sold for many thousands of dollars more than the offer I got. And really, in hindsight, there's no way that this dealer, it was like a very rare note. The offer was many, many, many times lower than it should have been. And if I had just gone blind and taken that first offer and been not a smart guy and gotten a second offer and looked into it.
Can you trust the internet when it comes to appraising? Can you put something out there and say, this particular coin or this silver watch or whatever?
You can't.
What about eBay?
I get. You can on eBay to an instant. So here's the deal. I get a lot of calls every day from people that go on Google. They have a nickel or they have a penny or they have a quarter, and they go on Google and they see that someone's selling it for $25,000.
Yeah, right.
And the first thing they say is, I have this 1943 penny, and it's $40,000. I'm like, okay, well, the typical penny is worth 2 to 5 cents.
Right.
Okay?
Wow.
In horrible condition usually, right?
Really?
But they find the same penny that they have listed for $25,000 on Etsy or eBay or whatever, and it's just some joker that's put it up there, and he's paying 10 cents every 4 months to list this penny for $25,000, hoping some, who knows? I don't even know why they do it, but these listings are out there. So using the internet or using a simple Google search is not it's not efficient. And I most people understand that when they call me or come in and I explain it to them. But then there's other people that like instantly go to, oh, you're being dishonest. You want to buy my $25,000 penny for nothing. Sure. And I'm like, well, I don't want your penny. At that point, I let them know. And usually I let them know anyways. Like, look, we don't usually buy these. They're really worthless. You could even spend it. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Just so that they get the point that, like, it's not me trying to bang them over the head for their $25,000 penny and pay them 10 cents, we're not even interested in.
Put it in a time capsule.
Right.
Bury
whatever. Do something with
bury
it.
it in the backyard.
Keep it or whatever. Give it to your kids or your grandkids or, but like items like that really have no value. But then, if you go on eBay and you find items, if you're going to use eBay for a gauge of value, there's a filter on the eBay search. It says sold for and completed auctions. So you click those two and you can kind of get a gauge. Sometimes things sell for 50%, 80% lower than they should on eBay. So sometimes it's not a good gauge. Sometimes they sell for drastically more than they should.
Right. Again,
not a good gauge. But if you're going to use eBay to get like a sense of where you should be on an item, make sure you click those two sold for completed auctions, because otherwise you're going to get like all these prices where, like, good example, guy comes in yesterday or the day before, he had a bunch of plated silver that he thought was sterling silver. So we're already at odds because plate is worth about $1 a pound, whereas sterling silver is worth like 70 cents a gram. So you're talking about, per pound, it's probably closer to $400 or $500. I'm not doing the math right in my head, but 16 ounces, $31, 16. So yeah, like $400 around there, right?
Okay.
For a pound, for $400 or $500. So anyways, there's a vast difference in a pound of plate and a pound of sterling. Well, he had these 3 forks, knives, or whatever. They're Mickey Mouse knives, and he looked them up on eBay and found them. Some guy asking $80 for them. Well, and I showed him, I was like, look, I gave him what I could pay for them, and he said, no, I'm not interested. I found just these forks they're on eBay for $80. They're worth $80. And I was like, well, how did you get the $80 value? Well, I went on eBay and they're selling for $80. I said, they're sold for $80 or they're selling for $80? And he goes, well, that's what somebody's asking for. I said, all right, well, let's look at what they sold for. So I clicked the sold for results with the same search parameters, and they come up and they sold for $16. You know what I mean? So it's like, there's a huge difference in what somebody's going to ask for something or what somebody might be asking.
Yeah.
Like I could ask $10,000 for my 01 Honda Accord out there.
Right.
You know what I mean? Is somebody going to pay that for it?
Well,
probably not. Never know today with cars. Cars are a bad example.
Right.
But
there's a lot of suckers in the world.
Yes. Yeah, there are. And again, that's another dishonest thing. I mean, people, it is what it is. There's always people that are trying to take advantage of people, and I try to encourage my customers to get 2 offers on every, like if they're bringing something in, they should get 2 offers.
Yeah.
Competition is the American way.
Sure. Of course.
Use it.
Of course
right?
it is.
Use it and be a smart consumer.
Right.
Be a smart
Vet
person. Just use
your sources, and if you're going to get 2 offers, make sure that the guy that's offering you is either lowballing you or highballing you. That that they have at least part of their head not in their ass, and
right.
they have an idea of what they're talking about.
Exactly. I mean, and to answer your question, yes, there are some guys that are, they're all over the place.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Sure.
And they're dishonest. I mean, there's some dishonest dealers out there. Some guys that have gotten in trouble. Just Google it. I mean, it's
Raylene watches this stupid ass show. What's it called again? What's it called that you love?
Oh yeah, I like that show.
There was another one, Flea Market Flip, but there was another one that you watched that you're obsessed with. I don't know what it.
Pawn Stars?
I don't know. What's that other one, Raylene?
Oh no, Black Dog Salvage.
Yeah, that's what.
Oh yeah,
Black Dog.
That's a cool show.
Black Dog Salvage.
Yeah.
You watch that stuff?
I watch all those shows.
You watch Antiques Roadshow?
Yeah, Antiques Roadshow is coming to Vermont.
Yeah, I saw that.
When?
And guess what? I shouldn't say this because I'm trying to get tickets. My friend Steve's going to be really mad. He was like, nobody knows this. I'm like, all right, cool. It's unlimited. They're basing the tickets off of emails. And they're not, like, you could put in, like, Craig McDermott 400 times with 400 different emails. So just make a bunch of emails. If you want tickets, just make a bunch of emails and submit, and you'll get tickets, believe me, because that's what they're doing. They're doing it by email. But they're not limiting the name to the email. They're not saying, like, you can only apply once with one email for that name.
Wow.
So I'm getting tickets.
When is it coming?
My buddy's getting tickets too. I was like, we're getting tickets, dude.
Like when and where?
It's going to be at the Shelburne Museum. They're going to do it outside, I guess. Which,
jeez.
and it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be this summer. I guess.
Wow.
They were gonna do it in the White Mountain, in New Hampshire, at the whatever that huge hotel is.
Yeah.
I don't know what the hotel's called.
The White, yeah.
White Mountain Hotels, whatever.
Mount Washington.
Yes, there you
Hotel.
go. There you go. It's like a grand hotel or whatever.
Yeah.
And nice place. They were going to do it up there, and something happened. I guess COVID was, this COVID thing is just, it is what
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
right?
Pain in the ass.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's a pain in the ass. And so they canceled that one, and we had tickets for that. Me and my kids were going to go, but now we got to try and scam the email system again and get tickets again.
Wow. Wow.
But
That's cool as hell, though.
no, it's cool. Yeah, I love those shows though. To answer your question though, it's I don't. I'm the type of guy that like I'll read books about what I do. I watch
Jeez.
shows. I mean,
Has there ever?
YouTube. I watch YouTube, and I have a YouTube channel, by the way. Search Gold and Silver Thrift or Vermont Pawn, VT Pawn, hashtag VT Pawn. You can find all my videos. I don't have a ton right now, but I'm working on a couple. One from the house that I was just talking about with that broadside advertisement. I videoed the whole thing. So I've been starting to wear video like on my chest, like a camera on my chest when I go to these places.
Wow.
Because I see great stuff.
Sure, of course.
And it's great content. I'm like, holy moly.
Dude, you're an animal.
Yeah.
God.
Tons of stuff.
So you're a certified appraiser.
Yes. Yep.
Where exactly is your shop?
It's on South Main Street. It's at 69-2 South Main Street. So it's 69 South Main Street, and I'm a little bit off the road. So if you're headed down South Main Street, you got like Tetros across the street, Tetros Appliance, Dollar General's right there, Kohl's Mufflers next to me, and I'm right there. But you have to kind of look over to the side. It's a brick building.
Okay.
Right there. Boom.
So if you're heading east,
East being like towards Williamstown.
this way, yes.
Yep. You get to the Naked Man, take a left, or take a right.
Yeah.
Head down past the post office. We're on the same side of the street as the post office. Go by Trow and Holden.
Yeah.
We're the next business on the right. We usually have a sign out, like a sandwich board sign.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of, and I'm sitting here thinking of all of these things that I want to bring in and show you. And I think it would be badass if we kind of did that live.
Yeah, we could do that.
I'll bring some stuff
Yeah,
in.
whatever.
And I'll put it behind the curtain, and Raylene will bring it over and put it in front of you.
Yeah.
And I think that would be so much fun to do that.
Absolutely.
Have you ever been called, or do you consider yourself a hoarder?
Not recently, but I mean, that's because I'm better. That's because I'm better at storing things than I used to be. I'm cheap by nature. Sometimes, like in my personal life, I don't like to spend money where I don't have to.
Yeah.
So
Do you have like a big ass barn in your backyard where you're
we have
hiding a bunch
storage
of
units.
shit?
We have storage units.
Oh,
and
you're
stuff.
kidding
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, you got a problem.
I mean, maybe, but you got to
When you
rotate
say-
stuff.
you
In this
don't-
business, you have to rotate.
Yes,
right?
of course.
Like it can't get stale, right?
But
so I'm
you
constantly
didn't-
moving stuff around.
You didn't say storage unit. You said
unit.
storage units.
Yeah. No, yeah, I did. You're right.
Holy crap, dude.
The problem is, right? You go to a house, and it's full of stuff, and sometimes the deal is you take it or leave it, right?
Yeah.
Take it all or leave it all.
Yeah.
So sometimes you have to take it all. And if you take it all, I'm telling you, a house that's been there for 200 years, that's stacked full, that's been lived in multi-generation, there is a lot of shit.
Yeah.
Most of it you can't throw away. I mean, because
Yes.
it's too good. I mean, country cottage furniture, stuff that's not hot right now, but at one point was bringing thousands of dollars.
Right.
Now is bringing $150.
Yeah.
That stuff's going to come back around.
Sure.
That's and that's just the antique dealer in me saying, you can't throw this away.
Has there ever been anything that has come in and landed on your counter that you've purchased from somebody and said, "Oh shit, man, I can't. I got to take this home.
Oh,
This
of course. Yeah.
This is. I
course.
got to keep this.
Yeah. It happens more
Like what?
with jewelry because I live with a wife and a daughter who are old enough to steal jewelry from me when I get home with it, so that happens a lot. They'll be like, "Oh, I'm keeping this." And I'm like, I have a hard time saying no to them when it comes to that.
Right.
But
What
I love stamps. I'm really big into stamps. That's another thing. I'm APA certified stamp expert as well.
Really?
Yeah, a philatelist.
Damn.
So I mean, and I am a certified appraiser, USPAP certified, which is I can do appraisals that are recognized by the courts, recognized by other industries, insurance agents.
Wow. Give me an example.
Pretty
of,
rare thing,
Give me an example of something that you just you just like.
Recently I got a 1930s Superman number 23, and I'm a big Superman fan. And it was like it's probably going to grade out at an 8. I'll probably never sell that. Probably not. It's at my shop. People can see it. They can't touch it, but they can see it right now. I haven't actually brought it home, but once I grade it, I'll own that.
Julie is saying July 12th, Shelburne Museum.
Cool.
Shelburne Museum.
Yeah. Well, I'll see her there. I mean, we're going.
What are your and Donna Thunder's giving you a shout out here. Asking your hours of operation.
So I coach basketball. Here, this is kind of the long answer. Typically in the summertime when I'm not coaching basketball, we're open 10 to 5.
Yeah.
Monday through Friday, and 11 to 5 Saturday.
Okay.
Yep. Sundays I try to take off, but I mean I do a lot of picking on Sundays too. I go to yard sales, flea markets. I'm all over the place. But
oh my God.
I try to schedule picks like at barns and
bring Raylene with you, man.
Yeah. Anytime. All you got to do is shout. We're constantly on the move. But,
what about baseball cards? I'm being asked right now from Josh.
Baseball cards, if they're 1960 or before, I may be interested in. If I'm not interested in the baseball cards you have, I can point you in the right direction, though.
Wow.
We know a lot of people.
That's
another thing. We network with a lot of dealers. So if you have something that I'm not interested in, I typically. And you can go to my Google page. I have reviews saying as much. I have 5-star reviews thanking me for sending them to another dealer where they made more money because I wasn't interested in the item they had.
Interesting.
It's a community, right? So there's two types of dealers. There's dealers out here that are like, oh, it's me, or it's like it's you and me. It's a relationship. Like when you come in, it's both of us.
Sure.
And if I'm not interested in the item, I'm not just going to tell you to beat feet and find somebody that is.
Yeah.
I'm going to try and help you find somebody that is. That's going to help. That's going to be in your best interest to go to.
What about magazines like old Life or Time magazines? Marilyn Monroe, JFK. Do you have any of that stuff?
They made so many of those. I try not to deal with magazines if they're really early. Outdoor Life is a good magazine that I really like.
Yeah.
Because it sells good for me. Excuse me. I'm trying to think of some other ones. Movie magazines, like from 80s and 90s movie magazines, actually, I'm interested in now. They're starting to really be hot.
Really?
Horror magazines from like horror movies. Those are starting to heat up. People are really after that stuff.
You got any old Playboy?
Nope.
What?
Nope. No old Playboy right now. No. And I actually, they're super cheap though. That's the other thing is like some stuff is you kind of have to look at it like with Time magazines. They made so many of them that unless there's something like really unique about it, maybe there's an autograph on it or there's a fold out poster in some of them.
Sure.
Those can be good because they have that extra like pizzazz or whatever, like that extra presentation that you can sell.
Right.
But you can buy those for so cheap on eBay. And I don't know how these guys are selling them for, $3 or $4 and making any money. Free shipping, $3 or $4.
Exactly.
Costs $4 to ship it.
Hello?
How are they making any money? They're just giving it away.
Yeah.
I mean, stuff like that I try to stay away from because it's just a pain in the butt. But that said, if right, yeah, exactly.
It's
I mean,
taking up space.
When you're doing the math as a dealer, you're kind of like, well, I pay, square footage wise.
Yeah, right.
This is what I pay square footage wise. Do I want a stack of, dollar magazines here, or
Sure.
should I use that space for something that I'm going to make $150 per that square foot?
What about metal detecting? Do you have one? You have a detector?
We get them. We get them once in a while.
No, I mean,
I do. Oh yeah,
you do it.
Yeah, I got a couple of them.
Couple?
My son, my 12-year-old, has one too.
What's a couple? What's that all about? One for the left hand, one for the right hand?
No, I mean, there's better ones for the beach and
Oh, my God.
for like rocks and dirt and stuff like that. So I've got a couple different ones. I got a Garrett that I really like. That was super expensive. I'm glad I bought it. I found a bunch of coins with that in Vermont. I don't have a lot of time to use it, but I mean, I do get out once in a while.
There's a YouTube channel about places in Vermont.
Yes, isn't it Green Mountain Hunters?
Yes, that's it.
God, I can't
That's
remember.
it right there.
That's exactly
That's it.
Yeah,
And they go to certain areas
in Vermont, in New Hampshire,
yes,
Yep.
that are old homes or whatever,
old foundations.
Yeah,
and they're wicked good at it. I wish I was that good.
really, really good.
Yeah, I watch those guys too. I mean, you can learn stuff from everybody. That's the thing. And nowadays, man, 10 years ago, we didn't have like this book of knowledge that was free in our hand all the time.
Yeah.
Now you have it. Why wouldn't you use it?
I would love to come in and buy comics. Do you have comics?
Oh yeah,
old
comic
comics?
books. We buy and sell comic books.
I would love to come in.
Sometimes we don't have any, but sometimes we have a ton. It like everything fluctuates.
Yeah.
Like. And it seems like, there's that law of threes where things happen in threes. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. Yeah. Well, in my industry, I see things in groups like, and I don't know if it's like a collective thought or what's going on. It's very strange, but like I'll get a good guitar, I'll get another guitar, I'll get another guitar, and it'll be like guitar week.
Wow.
Then it'll be coin week. Then it'll be, and it's nothing that I'm doing.
Sure.
I'm not like out advertising for guitars on Facebook or something. Like I'm not running any marketing to get these groups, but it just kind of happens that way.
Yeah.
And always has. It's very strange. Like it'll be Silver Week or Gold Week or Guitar Week.
Yeah.
And things will just come in strings. It's very odd.
If pardon the pun, but if somebody comes in and they say, dude, that's my guitar. I've been looking for that for 5 years.
Yeah.
What do you do at that point? Do you say, show me pictures?
Right. I mean, obviously, I want them to prove that it's theirs.
Yeah.
Usually, I ask them to call the police. Right away. I mean, the police on my end, I kind of need the police to get involved.
Sure.
Because I'm giving something to this person.
Of course.
Usually, their answer is, okay.
Yeah.
Or they're already involved, and then I say, well, who do I need to call? Who's the investigating officer or whatever? Even if it was 5 years ago, usually you'll have if the guy lost a guitar or whatever, the police are usually involved at some point in that whole chain of events, and you just kind of just say, well, who's involved? What's the agency? You know what I mean? And then you go from there, but. There are cases where people have sold things and they want them back and they find them. That's happened before. And then,
have you ever had somebody get emotional on you?
Oh, yeah.
They come in and find their grandmother's.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. People, I mean, and I understand, the other thing is like we find stuff that isn't stolen that belongs to people.
Yeah.
And we try to get it back to them. Right now. Yeah. We're still looking for the owner of this Purple Heart.
I saw that on your Facebook
you did see
page.
That? Yeah.
Yes.
And so we're still working on that, and we've got a couple guys that,
oh my God.
This one guy, Peter Spector in Ohio, is he's like a professional. He does a bunch of things. One thing he is a metals broker, so he deals with metals, but he also is a licensed PI and does a bunch of other stuff. So he's very good at looking into backgrounds, and he's digging into it. He's made a bunch of progress. We found some relatives. We're just trying to find out exactly who the metal should go to at this point. But, things like that. Locally, a good story. Bought a bunch of stuff from a guy who was a relative of a relative of a relative. One of the things that was bought at this yard sale, the family had a yard sale. The guy died. Family had a yard sale. One of the things that was bought at the yard sale by this relative of these people was a an antique, old, beautiful fireman's badge, like a firefighter's badge. And this guy was for decades, he was a firefighter in Montpelier. And I saw it had his name on it. I was like, man, I could sell this and make a bunch of money, because people are after firefighters and police badges, antique ones.
Yeah.
They're big money, and they're really good. If you have any and you are interested in selling them, we're definitely interested in buying them. But this, I was like, all right, it's got this guy's name on it. It's not the same name as the guy that sold it to me. So one of two things has happened here. The guy bought it, which was his story. I bought it at a yard sale, which checked out in the end. He bought it. He rightfully bought it. But it had somebody else's name on it that wasn't his. So I decided to do the legwork. I contacted the guy that I know, I went to high school with, Jake Larrabee in Montpelier. He's a firefighter.
Yep,
A
I know
good guy,
Jake.
great guy.
Yeah, he is.
I played football with him, and he was like, oh, man, he hasn't worked here. I gave him the name. He hasn't worked here for years, but I do know some of his relatives. I said, well, can you reach out to him, have him get in touch with me? I told him the story. Yep, sure. I don't know, a day later, lady contacts me, and she proceeds to tell me that there was a yard sale. They didn't want there to be a yard sale. A bunch of stuff had been sold.
Oh.
And,
Wow.
it's one of those things where, like, you don't, what do you do at that point? And it happened. They weren't, like, angry about it, but they resented the fact that it had happened, because it was her grandfather's stuff,
Right.
her father's stuff. So this lady comes in, anyways, to go way back to where you're saying, and people get emotional. This lady came in and she just broke down when she saw it, because she'd been looking for it for
Isn't that
decades.
something?
She'd been looking for it for decades, and so she got her father's badge back, and it was a happy story, And
Oh, my God.
in my position, I make money doing this stuff. You know what I mean? And it's great for me to be able to see that, to reward people for that kind of stuff. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And to give back to the community when I can.
Apparently, I'm just being told now that Chris West over at the Salvation Army also has apparently a Purple Heart that he's been trying to locate the owner for.
Oh, cool.
That was donated to one of the thrift stores.
Right.
Yeah. And another comment here from Josh, and I love this one. He's got a couple of old newspapers from Neil Armstrong's hometown,
cool.
in Ohio.
Yeah.
From the Apollo 11 moon landing.
Wow.
He's got 3, and one of them is autographed.
Whoa. Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Is it certified? Can you ask him if it's certified? If the autograph is certified?
He's watching, listening right now, so
Yep.
we'll
cool. Yeah,
we'll get an
he
answer.
should bring it in. I'll take a look for sure. I'm interested in that kind of stuff. Any kind of memorabilia that's autographed, historical items, documents, old paper. Never throw away old paper.
Yeah.
Never. Like, I have a lot of people who will come to me. Oh, we got this house and the attic is full of stuff. We're gonna throw it away.
Sure.
Right. And they're like, well, we're just going to throw the paper away.
Yeah.
Because we know you don't want that. I'm like, no.
Yeah, no. Yeah.
Envelopes from like
Maps.
1800s, maps, you name it. These people kept stuff for a reason. If there's a box of paperwork, typically they kept it for a reason.
Sure.
And it's just hard to get that through people's heads, and
Yeah.
they'll throw, what's in the dumpster is usually better than what's in the attic by
My
the time
God.
they decide to call us. So we
course.
really stress, and I know a lot of dealers that do this, we stress the fact, don't touch anything.
Yeah.
Just if you're going to call somebody and have us come,
Right.
just let us come.
Sure. Especially if it's breakable or something.
Yeah, right.
Right.
Right. Yeah, just I just feel like it's in their best interest not to throw anything away.
Well, listen, you please come back in.
Oh man, I'm ready to come back.
When,
Already.
when you do the next time, I'm serious.
I'll bring some stuff.
You bring some stuff. I'm going to have a table set up right
Okay.
next to you with some of my shit.
Yeah.
And I'm going to put it in front of you.
Cool, man. Yeah, I look forward to it.
One more
Sorry,
time.
I'm jabbing and talking and.
No, that's good. One more time. Your hours.
Yes.
with basketball.
Okay, so yeah, I didn't get to that part. So with basketball, I'm 11 to 5 on Mondays and Tuesdays and Fridays, and 11 to 3 on Wednesdays and Thursdays, because we have practice in Montpelier.
And your Facebook.
Saturdays, I'm not open on during basketball. At the end of February, we're back open on Saturdays.
All right. And your Facebook page.
Facebook is facebook.com/gold silver thrift. Just like the name, any of my stuff you can find me by searching gold silver thrift or VT Pawn, VTPAWN.com.
Wow, man.
Yep.
Craig Mcdermott.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Thanks for coming in
to the
here,
audience
brother.
and everybody.
My God, I could talk with you all day, dude.
I know. We could just talk, right?
I can't wait for you
run
to
and run and run.
I
just talk.
cannot wait for you to come back in here.
Cool,
It's
man.
gonna
I'm excited.
it's gonna be great.
I look forward to it.
Wow. I love podcasts like this, my God. Thank you so much for watching, for listening, for being a part of the podcast today. We appreciate your eyes and ears, and thanks to our sponsors. We got a new one, the Cornerstone Restaurant. Emsley's Florists and Gifts. My God, we have to talk about Valentine's Day. It is coming up so soon. We're going to be hammering some ads away for Emsley's in the coming weeks here. Giroux, General Transport, wearing their hat today, sporting it. Fontaine Forestry and Millworks, Green Mountain Mulch, Fecto Homes, Salvador and Babbitt, the Central Vermont Chamber of Commerce, Barre Area Development, FGB Theaters, Gustos, CW Creative, Vermont Custom Woodworking, ASB Financial, and the Barre Montpelier Times-Argus, Donnybrook Fight Promotion, Wood Doodles, Wright Electric, Gauthier's Quality Grounds and Maintenance. These are all presenting sponsors of the podcast here, which we're so excited about. Preston's Kia, Granite City MMA, and Barslow Construction. We've got Steve Pappas coming on a little bit later, I think around noon today, high noon, from the Barre Montpelier Times-Argus. Haven't chatted with him in a little while. Looking forward to catching up with him. Make sure you tune in for that. And make sure if you like the podcast that you tell your friends, follow the page, click like, drop a comment, and most importantly, do share away. We'll catch you again at noon today here on Aired Out.